What is going on, my homies? I invaded my boy's garage, dude, and check out all this tackle. He owns a bait company, so you'd think he'd be good, but he's got all kinds of naughtiness. Do you see how? And there he is right there, and he's got more baits. That is Val Lisinski, Gambler Lures, and of course, this is his gambler rack, dude. He's even organized. Look, like easy swimmer, fatty. I gotta find something that like I'm not used to seeing, or I don't recognize the name. But in any case, so here's what we're doing today. My buddy Val, there's probably two people that have influenced me and had more effect on me and what I do in my life in regards to fishing than this guy, Val, and JT. Those two guys have probably done more and influenced me more, and just, they're probably, I don't know, they're like those impact people, you know, they really kind of push the direction that you go with your life. But with that all being said, Val is actually fishing the MLF Invitational this year, which is pretty darn cool, and he's actually fishing it out of a pretty non-traditional boat. So I just want to talk to him a little bit about it and share it with you about what he's doing. So you qualified for the Invitational through the
Toyota Southern. I did. Yep, finished second last year. Had a real good tournament schedule and
thanks
did
to
well.
Harris too, right? You did really
Harris
good on Harris. That kind of closed the deal.
And Santa Cooper, three of my favorite areas to fish.
So you guys are starting off on Okeechobee. So this boat will not be that unfamiliar to Okeechobee, but tell me a little bit about you. I've been in this boat a million times, and the scariest part about this boat is how stable it is and how fast it is. It is a heat-sinking missile. But why do you like this boat so much compared to like a traditional bass boat?
You know, I just grew up fishing fresh and salt water, right? So this boat kind of goes both ways, and Lake and Bay does an awesome job in finishing their boats. So the quality of the wiring, the materials that go into it are top notch, and it's really built to run salt water, and it handles that chopper well for me. And it's just a very simple boat. You know, I'm a pretty simple person when it comes to fishing. I'm not a lot of bells and whistles kind of guy. So this boat is very rigged very simply for me to fish. It has everything I need and pretty much nothing I don't need on it.
He says you never feel like you're out of control, but he's never sat in the passenger seat where I've sat, and it's freaking nuts, dude. We've ran some stuff like parallel wakes in the canal. I always tell him about that it scared the hell out of me. But the boat always rights itself. That's what's kind of cool. It like jostles all over and then it catches itself. So Val, tell me a little bit about how you got it laid out. I see you got the deck extended up there.
Yeah, so this boat, when it comes to production, you know, the deck kind of ends here. Lake Bay makes an extension here. I've got this one here. They also have one that's closed off and gives you more storage as well. I was going for the really simple deck extension here. You know, another major modification was my trolling motor up front. I always, you know, had fished a hand-controlled trolling motor, but with the advent of forward-facing sonar like that, hand control is pretty much, I could not be competitive with it, and spot lock and all the features you get now with the foot control. So I had to do a little surgery up front there and cut myself a hole, mounted that there. Super happy with my Ultrex. It's been a really good trolling motor for me. So I did that. The only other real modification I made is on my live well. It's, you know, this is set up as a kind of a big bait well in a sense, but I put a divider down it, so if I've got a co-angler, I can separate my fish and kind of my side and their side. And that's really about it. You know, other than that, this boat's pretty stock. It used to be a center console. What I had to do to move, replace a gas tank on it. So when I did that, I went ahead and moved the console, made it a side console boat. So give me a little more room in the deck of the boat when it comes to getting up and getting down. It's a little more friendly to get around. It's not the center console anymore. We have episodes of breaking stuff with Val, and this boat is rarely on it.
So one thing I always wanted to ask you, Val, and I kind of know the theory behind it, but on saltwater boats and on really big boats, you see these guys. What the hell are these, and what does it actually do?
Yeah, I mean, these things are awesome. I would recommend them on any boat. I mean, I could put this boat on pad as long as I'm not on a rock bottom and probably 15 inches of water. Okay, so that's a big advantage when this lake gets low and guys have to idle a mile to get 6 more inches of water underneath them. You know, I bring the shack plate up, I put these tabs down, so as I start that forward push, this is actually bringing my stern up and driving my bow down. Okay, so there's a real advantage in shallow water. There's also a real advantage when I'm running the lake and it's rough, right? So if these tabs are up, I'm wide open, full bore, right? But if I get into some chop, I can just put those tabs down and my bow will not move. It'll take all that energy up in the front where that V of that boat is, and it'll disperse the energy off those waves. And instead of hammering my back or making my bow go way up in the air and come slamming down, it just doesn't happen in this boat. And I don't know why more bass boats don't run them.
All right, last thing. So the boat's pretty sick, dude. I've been in this thing. It screams. But what I'm most excited about is Val fishing the tour. But it hasn't kicked off yet, so you got any like tips or hints about what's gonna happen on Okeechobee?
Oh man, I don't know really. The lake's been fishing hard right now. We're off limits, but before we went off limits, there was good days and bad days, and it's the water's up a couple feet, and since a lot of you guys maybe that fish these reservoirs, a couple feet's not a lot of water, but on Okeechobee, a couple feet is miles of shoreline, right? So there's water, behind these grass beds that we can't get to, that these fish have probably moved into to spawn and do their thing because the water temperature's right and the clarity's right, but we can't really get to them in bass boats.
All right, last question. So we're in Val's stash. This is awesome. I want one of these at some point, like a closed-in giant carport. I see all this naughty stuff. Do you got anything that's like super sneaky or like discontinued, like OG stuff that you have stashed away?
I do. In fact, one of them is going to come into play very shortly.
Uh-oh.
So before I go to Okeechobee, I go to Harris Chain. And this is a color that is just for some reason on that chain really works well for me. It'll probably be like the only bait I flip
What is that?
Pitch up there. It's an old color we used to call electric chartreuse, basically.
That's
We
kind
don't
of
produce it anymore. Got a lot of gold in it and like a kind of a smoky bottom and a black top. And
That's black? It almost looks like it's watermelon, dude.
no, it's a black. It's a smoky kind of
That's
black.
kinda
You see it
cool.
better in the cricket, probably.
You got a giant.
You know it's
bag
good
of
when I get a lot
I
of
was
different
gonna
baits.
say, dude.
So that'll show you probably a little better on the cricket. It's It's a black.
That is naughty looking.
It's a black
I need that
color.
for Gunnersville, dude.
Yeah, there's been a BFL, Don DeMont one, a BFL on
Shut up.
Toho on this color. Yeah, so it's kind of a well-known color. Guys used to throw it. We just don't produce it anymore.
But you got the hookup, right?
I sometimes we get it done. I got it in crickets. I got it in crawdad. I got it in fat ace. I got it in why not. I got it in burner crawl. So I've got it in a lot of different, and I save them for that tournament. Really, one day I'll win somewhere on that chain, on that bait, a big tournament. So maybe this will be the year. We'll see. So that's a real popular top watercolor we throw.
That looks just like your
That's just like our
Yozuri spook thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's that style bait, right? So that's a real popular color on Okeechobee. So we ran some easies and that, buzzed that on the surface, and it does pretty well as well.
That's pretty sweet.
Yep, a little brighter. So it's a color that just different, and they don't see it a lot. I think, and you get around a lot of boats. Sometimes I like that. This is kind of an old school bait here. So this is a color that we shot some video on last year, Mike, that JB blue color.
Yeah.
And I just have tons of video of big fish getting caught on a fat ace. And so that's a 10-inch ribbon tail in that same JB blue color.
That looks awesome.
So,
I've actually started liking that color almost more than the black blue tip, to be honest with you. Yeah.
I do for sure. And it's a color I throw a lot, and when we were on the fat aces, we just threw the ribbon tail mold on and ran me a batch of those. This kind of stuff I'm getting ready for, and stuff that'll be in my boat on Harris and on Okeechobee. But yeah, there's all sorts of little stuff here. This is something, Mike, I'll give you kind of first dibs at. We're on the fourth version. And I'm.
You sure you want to show that?
Show it real quick. It's coming. It's not ready yet. We've got two different versions. We tweaked it a little bit. They're all nice and sealed. They don't really take a lot of water on. They've got some rattles inside of them built in already. The hooks sit real nice here. Good hookups. I've got some guys on our pro staff who do a lot more damage on a frog than I do, who have really dialed this in. You can see different versions of it here. Like that's version 1.
Because this has been like a 3-year project, 2.5-year project.
It's been for the last 6 months probably. We've been going back and forth. I really committed to. It always comes up in our product development meetings, like, hey, why don't you guys do a frog? And I'm like, everyone does them. And for 10 years, I've been saying no. But I think this is the year we're going to do a frog.
I was going to say yes. I like it.
Yeah, so we've got like all the different versions, and I think we're about on our fifth and sixth versions here, and I'm pretty confident one of these two will be the one we go with. We'll pick some colors out, basic colors, whites, blacks, yellows, browns. And yeah, I think this year, for sure, you'll see it probably sooner rather than later. So, some other things, Mike, that are kind of sneaky here. This is a Loco Lizard.
Oh yeah.
This thing people ask for, and we run them custom run every now and then, and we'll get them out. But this is a cool lizard, man. Big fish like it. I Carolina rig it. I pitch it around, and I catch a lot of good fish on the lake on it. And they move up and spawn. I'll throw that in a couple weeks here if the weather's right. Crawdaddy color.
That's the one I was wondering
again
about.
With the chartreuse. Yeah, that's a kind of a custom crawdaddy, a little chartreuse in some dirty water, little kind of gold pumpkin back. It's a pretty cool color. Does well. Flapping shad. You know me. I love the flapping shad, and this is kind of a color I won a lot of money a couple of years ago throwing a flapping shad, and we shot some video on it. But that's kind
of those are cool.
Yeah, June bug and a green pumpkin red. That's a fun color that pretty much I get bit on everywhere on it, so I keep a bunch of those around.
That'd be a killer on Kissimmee with the way the blue.
Anywhere. It's great coming through pads. When they're on that flapping shad bite, it's just a different deal. It's real subtle, and when they're on it, they hammer it. And there was, like I said, about 2-3 years ago, we shot some video on that, but I crushed them for a couple months on that bait. So it was pretty cool. There's all sorts of secret stuff in here. I got a little video camera, so when my buddies come in, I can keep an eye on them and see what they take out. And it's good stuff. Yeah, you're on film. Don't worry, I'll see you later.
I'll put it back, dude. I'll put it back. That is a wrap, my homies. Val is not only an epic angler, dude, an awesome business guy. He's run Gambler and brought me just kind of to where I'm at. Like, him and JT are probably my biggest mentors that I have. But follow him on tour. You can follow everything that he's going to be doing on the Gambler YouTube channel. So go subscribe to that, and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. It's all going to be on Gambler, his whole tour deal. And if you got any questions or anything about the boat or anything along those lines, just drop it on social media and hit him up. Hit that like and subscribe button for me, though. Everybody say bye to Val. Bye, Val. We got to get Bugsy. Can be so pissed.
She loves you, Mike.
His dog hates me. I don't know why, but it is what it is. Hit that like and subscribe button. We will see you later, guys.